So in our writing task 2, is measured according to 4 different things. Firstly is task achievement. So your task achievement, is your essay on topic? Are you answering the question? Are you answering all parts of the question? And whether you develop your ideas and explain things. So all of those things will affect task achievement. Coherence and cohesion. This is about whether your paragraphing and idea development is nice and logical and easy to understand. How well you link ideas is important as well. So linking ideas could be done with transition words and but. So those are 3 basic ones. Because, however, although, getting a bit more complex. So the kinds of language you use to show the relationship between ideas in your writing, those are transition signals. Other important things for linking ideas, referencing, referring back to early ideas, for using words like this, it, yeah, so this idea, or referring back to something you said earlier and said it is important because, yeah, so those kinds of words are important for coherence. And then making sure you don't repeat the same words again and again and again. Partly done with referencing. You can also use substitution, using different words with similar meanings to avoid this repetition. Lexical resource just means vocabulary, basically. This is one that lots of people have problems with because your vocabulary needs to be relevant. So you can't just memorize lots of different phrases and then throw them into any essay. The examiner is going to think, how relevant is your vocabulary for the topic? Okay, so when you're showing your vocabulary, it is really important to be topic specific. And is your vocabulary broad enough to be flexible and precise? Okay, so using a good range of vocabulary, using words with very specific meanings, and using words flexibly. They seem to belong where they've been put in the essay. Lots of people like to memorize long idioms and then they just drop it into the essay and force it in. It doesn't read very naturally, and that vocabulary use is not flexible. So it needs to sound really natural and it needs to be well used. And then grammatical range and accuracy. How accurate is your grammar? Are there lots of mistakes? Also, are there more mistakes in complex sentences, but not many mistakes in simple sentences? So the types of mistakes you make as well. How basic are they? And then do you use a range of complex structures? Nice variety of grammar. Okay, if you learn 1 or 2 complex sentence structures and then use them again, you are not showing grammatical range. Could also be quite bad for your coherence. Remember, we try not to repeat ourselves too much for coherence. So if you are using the same kinds of words again and again and again, because you only have 1 or 2 complex grammatical structures, there could be a connection between some of these things. So just be a little bit careful, because a mistake only affects one band descriptor. So if you make, for example, grammatical mistakes, it can't affect your lexical resource, or it shouldn't affect your coherence. But coherence, the overall feeling of your essay, if your essay seems repetitive, then it starts to count. Okay, so an individual mistake will only affect one band descriptor, but the overall impact it has on your essay could start to affect the others as well. So be a little bit careful, try to avoid repeating yourself. Okay, any questions about those 4 descriptors or those 4 summaries of what you need to do for each thing? Any questions? No. Silence. I'm going to assume that's a
No,
good.
I have one question, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're talking about linking some ideas. So
Hmm.
what should be our sequence of linking ideas? Like where should we start and where should we end?
It depends on the essay. You don't try and memorize a set structure for a paragraph. That is a very bad idea for coherence.
Okay, I
So
will
what
not do
lots of
that.
people try to do is they try to learn a template and they say every idea should start with one reason for this is, furthermore, something else, however, something else, finally, finish. That is a really, really, really bad idea. It's going to limit your coherence quite dramatically if you do that. You won't be, if you do that, you won't be able to score more than band 6 for
No,
coherence.
there's a specific sequence for writing an essay. Like you start with an introduction, then you the description in the main headline, and then outro at the end. I was talking about that. That we should start from introduction, then we should start from some letterhead, and then outro. Should we like doing with the same?
Well, you'll have an introduction, you'll have body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and then you'll have maybe body 3, depends on the question, and then you'll have your conclusion. Yeah, that is the overall structure of the essay. Yes.
Yes, I got it.
But you know, in terms of people thinking, how do I write a paragraph, depends entirely on the question. Okay, it needs to be flexible. Don't try and, I would advise against trying to memorize whole very specific essay structures. It's not going to help you. Firstly, it can limit your score quite badly. Secondly, when you get to university or business in another country, you're not going to be able to do that with a 2,000 word essay. It's a waste of your time to learn those kinds of things. Okay, any other questions? No? All right, let's move on then. So these are the 4 descriptors. We're going to, in a minute, try, or these are summaries of the descriptors, what you need to do for each score. And in a minute, we are going to try and apply them. Okay, so let's have a look at this question. Analyze this question. In Britain, when someone gets old, they often go to live in a home with other old people where there are nurses to look after them. Sometimes the government has to pay for this care. Who do you think should pay for this care, the government or the family? I'll give you a minute to think about it. What is important here? What ideas do we need to cover in this essay? So let's take a minute to think about the question and make sure we are answering it properly. Okay, and while we're doing that, I'm just going to pause the recording. Right, so we're resuming the recording. Okay, right, so Ijlal, what do you think we should discuss? What words in the question are important?
Are you asking me to answer the question?
Yeah. What words are important in this question? What should we mention?
What should we mention?
Mm-hmm.
I think the idea we should discuss it, that idea that who should pay that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The government or the family.
Okay, so good task achievement. Write an essay all about the government paying for healthcare or elderly care. Yes or no? Is that good for your task achievement?
Should we start writing now?
No. Is it going to be good for your task achievement if you write an essay only about the government?
Okay, like we only have to discuss one idea.
If you do that, will that be good for your task achievement?
Okay.
Will it? Yes or no?
No. Yes.
Okay. Good, Khaled. I think that was Khaled. We need to discuss both of these things. We must mention both of them. Which
this was what I was talking about, that we mention both of these.
Yes, we definitely have to mention both of them. The question directly asks for some kind of analysis or discussion. You've got two things to discuss here. Which words in the prompt are important? Anyone? So we've looked at the question at the bottom. Let's not forget the question is related to this prompt. Which words may be important here? Which words may be important?
Government has to pay for this care.
Yeah, so that links directly to the question. What else? What else is important there? Sultan, what do you think? Any ideas?
Nurses, yeah, where the nurse actually look after them.
Okay, there are nurses. So this is giving us what idea? Are these people very healthy?
No.
Okay, so we're talking about nursing homes and residential care homes. We're not talking about retirement communities, probably not talking about retirement communities where lots of old people go and live together in a community, as you might find in Florida. This is introducing, there is an idea of a medical need. Yeah. So we should, so if we start writing about, it's great when people move into retirement communities, all the old people can be together, you're off topic, because that is not a care environment. Okay, so be really, really careful. Which other word in the question should we probably mention? Which word should you mention?
Live in a home, like old home or safe home or care home.
Yeah. So it's yeah. So it's residential. They're not just going there for the day. They're living there. We're getting to. What about this word? In
I think
Britain.
we can talk about that not only in Britain. I think this is happening in the whole world.
Yeah.
No, actually, it is clearly mentioned in question that in Britain. So I think we have to talk about in Britain.
Okay, so the problem is we don't know loads about, probably don't know loads about the British care system, but I would definitely include that word at some point in your essay. You don't have to make the whole essay about Britain. Yeah, it's giving you, in Britain this happens, the government sometimes has to pay. So it's setting the topic, this broader idea of residential care. That is going to be the most important thing, but you should probably mention at some point in your essay that in Britain it happens like this, just to make sure that you cover it and mention it. Okay. You don't have to write it in every paragraph, because if you did that, you know, that would really test how much you know about the British care system. You might not know very much about it, but in the introduction, I would definitely include in Britain, just to cover that part of that mention in the question. But obviously, as people are pointing out, the main question is this idea of medical care, this care referring back medical care, yeah, in residential care homes. And then does the government pay or the family? So it has limited what you can talk about quite a lot. One problem people would have with this essay is they would read the title, they would read the prompt really quickly, they wouldn't think about it, and they would write an essay that's off topic. Okay, so be a bit careful, make sure you analyze these questions properly. Okay, can I take this? This is about to go, so if you want a screenshot, take one now, and then we will move on and get some of your ideas. Okay, So 3, 2, 1, and it's gone. Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's have someone who we haven't heard from yet. Sonal. Hi, Sonal. You might want to unmute yourself. Sonal, are you there? Oh, maybe she's not able to talk. Okay. Harry is. What do we think? What would you talk about here? Give me some ideas.
Are we talking about the introduction or the main paragraph?
Just ideas, planning the essay.
Okay. I will start with the introduction first. That talk about the in Britain. Basically, I summarize. Not summarize. Sorry. I mean, I paraphrase these questions. And then after that, I will end the last sentence in that introduction paragraph, which will be, this essay will discuss about who should pay for the care, whether it's government or the family. And then the second paragraph will be the main idea of these questions.
Yeah, fine. And what are you going to say in that paragraph? What do you think? Should the government pay or should families pay? Your first feeling?
My first, my gut feeling is the government. Because not all family can afford to pay a nurse and also the specialist to take care of their family member.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, fine. So affordability could be an issue. Yeah, good. Who thinks that the family should pay? Does anybody think family?
Yes, in my opinion, I think for the introduction, I can paraphrase the question card, and for paragraph 1, I can mention the older people potential needs in the paragraph 1, and paragraph 2, I can mention the role of the family, and for the third paragraph, I can mention the role of the government. And in the conclusion, I can give my opinion about for the default mood, the family should pay attention for their older people, and in case of lack of a family member, the government should pay attention for this older people. So it's just for exception.
Okay.
When yes, is that clear?
Yeah. Fine. Good. You're setting yourself up to write quite a long essay, but if you can finish it in the time, then good. Why do you think the family should pay? What reasons do you have?
I think the first founder of this family were the older people. So it just bring back the energetic life for them, and it's related to temperament of each family to keep and care about their parents or their older people.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Is this care happening in the home? Are the families doing this care?
Yes.
The families are caring for people in the nursing home and residential care homes.
No, when a family takes care about their older people, they live with them in the same home or caring. They talking about nursing home. Yes.
Yeah. So be really, really careful. If you start talking about care in the family unit and in the family home, that is off topic. So be really, really careful there. Why should the family pay the care home fees?
Sorry?
Why should the family pay the fees for the care home?
I think it's service fees for pharmaceutical care or living service fees.
Yeah, pharmaceuticals, so medicine or medication. Yeah. And then things like residential services, food, things like that. Yes. But why should the family pay for it?
Can I participate, sir?
Yeah. Islam?
We are responsible for them.
Okay, yeah, fine. This idea of responsibility. Hi, Ijlal. Yes.
I think they have brought up us, and they have spent their whole life to take care of us. And I think it's our responsibility when they are in the older stage, like we were in the beginner stages, or when we were child. They took care of us, and I think now it's our responsibility to fulfill and give them their response. And
yeah, fine.
It's our responsibility to give them some return that they have spent on us.
Okay, yes. And so as people grow older, or when people have children, what do they do for their children? What do your parents probably do for you to care for you?
They take care of every aspect of our life, our education, our aid, and our health, our social issues.
Why do they do that?
I think that's their responsibility.
Yes. Okay. What do your parents? Yes, but we could provide the very basic minimum, but most parents don't. Why don't parents just do the minimum required for their children? Why do most parents invest more time, effort, and money in their children? Possibly.
Yes, possibly. No.
Why do they?
Parents invest more time, money in their children?
I think like when they become
good relationship they have.
Yeah. So Sultan?
Like I think when they become older, in return they will get something, care or some financial service or this kind of things. This is why maybe parents always spend more time or money for children.
Okay, they might view it as an investment in their children.
Yeah,
we invest things. When you make an investment, you expect, or you are hoping to get something positive in the future. And Sanal has quite rightly said they do it for love, and they want to see their children succeed. Yes, that's true. Remember, we may not actually agree with what we write in the essay. We just want to write an essay that is clear and meets the requirements of the task. Yeah. So we've got some ideas here now. So we've got why should the government pay? Another reason. So we've got except if families can't pay. Can we think of another reason why the government should pay? Harry has gave us affordability.
First of all, they are inhabitants of this country, and second thing, they spend their prime time for country to contribute their economy. So I think it's a liability of country to take care of people.
They okay. To the economy. Yeah. And what else do they do when they go to work? When you go to work, do you keep all the money that you earn? Do you get
I think maybe some percentage.
You pay taxes to the government.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we pay taxes. What do we get for those taxes?
We help government to do some development in the country.
Okay, such as think about the question, what kind of development could the government do?
Hospitals, nursing homes.
Developing these old houses.
Okay.
Maintaining them. I think this is also a type of investment.
Yeah.
People are giving to government so that government can help them when they are older.
Yeah. So there's really good. So we, in both arguments, we've now got this idea of investment. Okay, when you pay taxes, you do it with a view to the government benefiting you in the future or benefiting you now. One of the things that the government may do is, make sure that when you grow older, you are provided for. You could make that argument. It's good. We've now got.
I think. I think specifically like people have to like contribute, or people have to pay for health insurance. So I think it's most specific.
Okay, you could do that. Health insurance. Yeah, you could do that. This idea of health insurance in the UK, we have something called national health insurance, which pays for medical care and things like that. So everybody working pays national health insurance, and that money specifically goes towards our healthcare system. So that's the system in the UK. In the US, you pay health insurance, or your employer pays health insurance, and their medical care is privately run. So there are lots of different things to think about here. Good, really good. So we've got two quite strong ideas now that are going to answer this question really nicely. Remember, we don't want to be too balanced, or we want to at least give a very clear conclusion. Khaled was saying in some cases it should be the government, in other cases it should be the family. That's fine, but you're going to have to write a much longer essay. You're giving yourself, you're making your life more difficult than it has to be. Sorry. If you do that, and you're going to write a lot more for it, because the ideas need to be a bit more developed and a bit better explained to get that balance. I would choose one or the other. Decide whichever arguments are going to be easier for you to make, not which ones you actually believe or think, which arguments are going to be easier for you to make and get more of your good vocabulary. And we then have two body paragraphs here, and one of them we are going to make one of them stronger, or make a very clear opinion in favor of one over the other, so that our conclusion is going to be nice and clear. Okay. So here it's quite a difficult question, not because the ideas are high level or difficult, or it requires you to use lots of high level vocabulary. The problem is people go off topic and they start talking about things like, care for old people should be done in the family unit. That's not really relevant, because it is asking specifically about care in nursing homes and who should pay for it. So be a little bit careful. Right. Yeah.
How do we know that if we get off the topic? How do we sense that this is okay? I'm getting off the topic. So how to make myself aware when doing the exam?
You won't go off topic, because what you're going to do is before you start writing, you spend 5 minutes reading and analysing the question and doing an essay plan that matches the topic. So once you've got the plan, stick to the plan. Invest the time, invest 5 minutes in a good essay plan. Once you start writing, you already know how it's going to finish. You know what your ideas are. You know how you're going to develop them. Now all you need to do is think about grammar and vocabulary. You've done the task achievement bit in the 5 minute plan. Yeah.
I see.
So
okay, highlighted red, right?
Yeah. Always produce a physical essay plan that you can refer back to. You need to be really quite an experienced writer to just read this question and start writing straight away. And you should not do that in the test. If you really understand the requirements and you have lots of experience, you might be able to do it. But even for me, even if I don't write it down, I spend a few minutes thinking about the question and thinking about what my body paragraphs are going to be. But I've got lots of academic writing experience. And in the test, I would probably write it anyway, because I know it's a bit more important and I'm not going to have time if I start going off my main ideas. So you should, before you even start writing the introduction, you should know what the introduction is, your body paragraphs, how many of them, what are they about, what arguments you'll make, and you'll already know what your conclusion will say. Okay? So you shouldn't be in the middle of a paragraph and suddenly think, oh, I'm going off topic, because if you've done that, you're not following your plan. Okay, right. If anybody wants a screenshot, take one now. We're going to move on, and we're going to look at a brilliant response to this question, and I think you guys are going to have some fun with it. Okay, so this is gone in 3, 2, 1, and gone. Right, let's move on. Okay, can everybody see that clearly?
Yes.
Okay, so take a minute, or I'll give you a couple of minutes just to read through this. I want you to think about the following things. Task achievement, is it answering the question? Is it clear? Coherence, does everything belong in this essay? Is it easy to understand what they're saying and why they're saying it? Lexical resource, is the vocabulary good? Is the vocabulary relevant? Relevance is really important as well. And then think about the grammar. So I'll give you a few minutes just to read through that. People who are watching this on YouTube, while you do this, just pause the video. We are going to pause the recording for you and give you your own time. You can choose how long you want to take to analyze this essay. So recording is going to be paused now. Okay. So what do we think? Do we think this is a good essay?
No. Completely not.
Completely
because there is no paragraph. Because there is no paragraph sense and totally out topic.
Okay, good, Sultan. It's large parts of it are off topic. Does it kind of answer some of the question? Does it kind of answer some of the question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some. Not all of them, but some.
Like family responsibility or this kind of things.
Okay, so it has definitely achieved band 5 for task achievements. It might not be going much higher. Okay, it hasn't really covered all parts of the question, and that is one of the hard limits that stops you from scoring over band 5. Doesn't matter how beautifully written your essay is. If you don't cover all parts of the question, band 5. If it's off topic, band 4. You could write the best essay in the world about a different topic. It's not going to score well for task achievement. Okay, so already off to a bad start. Coherence, is it confusing at any point? Who thinks that this is never confusing? It's always crystal clear. We understand the paragraphing makes sense.
I think idea development is quite confusing.
Okay, so the use of paragraphs. Which paragraph is confusing you, Sultan?
I think 4th one. The tree plantation in Sri Lanka. I don't understand what's the matter of putting it right here.
Okay, why are you talking? Okay, this is about care homes. Why are you talking about plantations in Sri Lanka? Okay, so it's what they're probably trying to do is they think, oh, plantation. Okay, here. Oh, brilliant vocabulary. I'm going to use it in this essay. Is it relevant?
No.
Not.
And they just talk about family. They did not mention government and responsibility. They just mention about family.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good, Amina. They haven't really talked about the government. Who likes this introduction? What do we think about the introduction? A
I think
visible.
it's a good introduction.
Okay. A visible change of any living organism is getting older. Is that?
No, it's not a good introduction.
Okay. This first sentence, what are you talking about?
I think it's memorized.
It's memorized. It's probably memorized. Any living organism, we're talking about, you know, old people in nursing homes, and it's got nothing to do with the topic. Yeah, this isn't about age generally across different species. It's memorized. Again, they're trying to use what they think is high level vocabulary. It's not going to count because it's not relevant. Yeah. So they're trying, the reason they've done this is they think that they're going to use this vocabulary and it's going to help their vocabulary score. It's completely destroyed their coherence, and it's also not going to count for vocabulary because it's not on topic and it's not relevant. Child, youth, adult, and elder are some of the stages in our life. Child and elderly stages are dependent compared to other two stages. Is that clear? Child and elderly stages are dependent compared to other two stages.
Dependent for what?
Okay, yeah. Okay, good. For what? Why? No explanation. It doesn't make enough sense. Yeah, Sonal in the comments is asking organism with 3 question marks, so she doesn't understand why they've used that word. Yeah, okay, good. For both of these situations, a human being needs others' support. Both of these situations, children and elderly. Child, off topic, not relevant.
Yes, not relevant. We're
Okay.
talking about 2 situations, and we are now talking about getting older.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. So it's very confusing. The ideas don't flow together logically. The vocabulary. Can we see any vocabulary that is relevant and might be okay? Might be, you know, more than basic. Just read through the body.
I think he is talking a lot about take care of their children, and it's irrelevant for about what we are typing or writing for.
Yes, yes. So they're trying to make one of the they might be trying to make one of the arguments that we made earlier about, you know, your parents raised you, your parents supported you, but they're not doing it in a way that's very clear. That's the problem. So it might be to do with that. But again, it's not very clear. Can we see any vocabulary here that isn't terrible? That is relevant and might be good.
Supportive role.
Good, Harrius. Yeah. Okay, think about the coherence. Do they have nice ways of rephrasing it?
Not really, actually.
It's not really. It's not showing any flexibility. They're not showing flexibility or variety very well. Yeah. They try to explain it, but the explanation's a bit unclear. Responsibility. Yeah, maybe payment. Maybe. So they do have some vocabulary, but there's not really enough of it to be useful. Then words like all advantages utilized from elders. Again, utilized, not bad, but the overall, remember, we're thinking about the overall level of vocabulary. It's not really good enough here. What do we think of the grammar? Is the grammar overall accurate, or does it make it a bit more difficult to read?
I think it's difficult to read.
Okay, so the level of grammar makes it a bit difficult and is probably contributing to the fact that it feels a bit confusing when you read this essay. So the grammar is not very good. It's not well controlled. Even the simplest sentences, this is a kind of selfish, this is a kind of selfishness, or this is selfish. Yeah. So even the simplest sentences, there are mistakes. Another one, paid by
Also,
the government.
This paid by the government should be stopped. Yeah.
Yeah, paid by the government should be stopped. Quite a simple clause here, and it's wrong. And families should be paid for them. Families should be paid. Who by? By the government, maybe? So, you know, this error with the passive at the end of this sentence is confusing.
Also, after their parents, nor elderly parents do not have own money in hand. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, good. So overall, are we liking this essay? Good chances on the test? Do we think it's going to do well? Probably not. Yeah, it's pretty low. If you would like to see a breakdown of this essay, we have got on our website a rating on this essay, and it's possibly even lower than you're thinking already. You probably got the idea that this is not a very good essay. It is quite low. So after the session, feel free to go to our website and check it out. There is a rating on this essay. I'll put it in the chat box. If you're watching on YouTube, I will link it in the description as well. Okay, so you can find the rated version of this essay on our website. Let's have a look. So let's have a look at a slightly different essay. Let's look at a different essay answering this question and have a think about it. Okay, so here is, it's longer, you'll notice. That's the first thing. It's quite a complex topic. So yeah, it will be. So this kind of topic, you're going to be writing probably over 300 words, probably closer to 350 to answer it in any real detail. So take a moment to, I'll give you a few minutes just to read through this answer and think about it. What do we like? What don't we like? I'll give you about 4 minutes to do that. For people on YouTube, I'm going to pause the recording. So pause the video now while you read through and think about this essay. Okay. So what do we think? What do we think of this one? Bit better?
Yeah, it's a very good essay.
Okay, so let's have a look. What vote? So the first sentence, what's that doing? What idea is that introducing from the question?
It's about the population of elder people.
Okay, so it introduces this idea of age increasing, elderly people. What other idea is it introducing?
Their health issues.
Okay, good vocabulary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dementia.
Yes.
Dementia,
Good.
low mobility. So very quickly, on topic, relevant vocabulary, explaining why people might need care. Next sentence, what is the writer doing in the next sentence? Which idea is being introduced? From the question, The question, remember, said nurses. What have they done here to give this idea of nurses?
Specialist staff.
Okay. With specialist staff and residential care homes, they're living there. And one of the things that we said as off topic is this idea of care in the family. In this essay, the writer has identified that that's off topic. Yeah. And they directly say that they can't be cared for by the family, to show and to narrow the topic, only care homes. And we have which country?
Britain.
Yeah.
Okay, as the example mentioned in the prompt, just to cover it and make sure that it's mentioned, talking about in Britain. And then they introduce the idea of cost. This is clearly expensive, and it's debatable as to whether these costs should be borne or carried by the government, or instead of families, they're using
Relatives.
okay, the person's relatives. Okay.
Yeah.
Next paragraph, which idea is this covering? Who should pay?
Family.
Okay.
Their family.
Okay, so we are clearly dealing now with one part of the question. And then they're saying people have children. They often do so as a form of insurance against old age. Who thinks that is the reason that people have children? No one. Who thinks that is not the main reason that people have children?
A little bit confused.
I don't think so.
Okay. Does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
In
matter.
most cases, it does.
Sorry?
Like in few cases, it does, but in few cases, it does not. So it depends on the person and his
Okay.
own view.
It might depend on the person. So has the writer of this essay, I don't believe that's why people have children, but I've identified it as quite a convenient thing that I could say to answer the question and develop an idea, and it's on topic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So even though I don't actually think this, I've looked at the question and thought, well, I could say it. Remember, they're not marking whether your opinion is right or wrong. This is an opinion, and it makes sense and it's relevant for the question. So, and they haven't said always, I've said often, just to show this is not in every case, but generally speaking, this might be one reason. And then as a form of insurance, and then we develop this idea, insurance is a kind of financial service. So this idea of insurance, we now use words like investing. Yeah, investing time and money into raising their children and ensuring that they are healthy and receive the best. By ensuring that they are healthy and receive the best education, parents give to avoid repeating children. Which word? Which word? Good. To find well-paid jobs. Okay, they give their offspring the opportunity to find well-paid jobs. Then this investment is often made with their own old age in mind. People do this because they're thinking about what happens when they're old, to ensure that their families are capable of providing for them in any eventuality, final outcome, yeah, or situation. So being used as a noun, quite high level vocabulary, including care in a nursing home. Brilliant. Yes, directly answering the question. Consequently, it could be argued that the family should pay for the care of elderly people. So the idea here, people have children, they invest in their children in case they go to the nursing home. the family should pay for this care. Yeah, and people have done this with this idea in mind of elderly care. So we're clearly on topic and answering the question. If we didn't have this sentence about the nursing home, yeah, this paragraph might not make much sense and be so relevant. So the idea has developed into a direct answer to the question. And we've also got it here in the first sentence of the paragraph as well, just to show the control of the idea and to show the relevance for the topic. Next paragraph. So they're going to make two counter arguments against. Two important counter arguments to this: coherence, linking throughout the essay, despite this, linking back to this previous paragraph. Yeah, so the ideas and the way they fit together, the coherence words they're using are showing the reference to the previous paragraph. So two counter arguments. Yeah, hi, Harriet.
Sorry, questions. Instead of despite this, can we use like on the other hand?
Yeah, you could say on the other hand. I think despite this is probably better, because this is referencing back this whole previous paragraph. Yeah, so it directly connects the two paragraphs together. You could use on the other hand, but there are lots and lots of different phrases that you can use. You could use however as well. Yes, okay. So there are different ways to do it. The nice thing here is the use of the word this, because it is summarizing the whole previous paragraph in one word and showing a good understanding of paragraphing and coherence. This is quite skillful paragraphing and paragraph control.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Firstly, not all families are wealthy enough to afford expensive nursing home fees. Fine. Yeah, introducing this idea that we had in our brainstorming, not everyone can afford it. It then develops this idea a little more and explains it. It would be unreasonable to bankrupt working people for the sake of providing care for elderly relatives who require specialist interventions. Bankrupt, what happens if you're bankrupt? How much money do you have? Nothing.
None.
No money, it's all gone because you've used all your money to pay for mum or dad in the expensive nursing home. Okay, so it's explaining and giving a reason. This is unreasonable. Yeah, it's not fair. More importantly, so this is introducing the second idea, and it's showing that this idea is the really strong one. Yeah, so we're adding more and saying it's more important. Okay, really, really flexible use of transition signals. Very often in their writing, people stick to words like however, therefore, in addition. These are fairly basic linkers. In this one, more importantly, you're showing you're adding another idea and you're showing this one is better or more important. So it's instead of saying in addition, this is a much more flexible way of adding a new idea. Okay, and showing the relationship of importance between the two ideas as well. So it's quite clever coherence. More importantly, throughout their careers, people pay taxes to the government. It is reasonable for them to expect a return for this money. Yeah. So people pay taxes, they should expect something back. Then the government this is giving a very clear government responsibility. The government should plan properly for the future and budget accordingly. The government needs to think about these things in their budgets. Setting money aside for state pension pots, the state meaning the government, yeah. And residential care for elderly people whose families can no longer support them. For these reasons, directly answering the question, it should be the government's responsibility. In conclusion, some people believe that families should pay for the care of their elderly relatives. Some people believe that. So we've discussed the idea. We summarize it in the conclusion. However, I believe that the government should cover these costs, as not all people can afford to pay for expensive residential care, and the government should save and invest tax money people pay to provide for them. Notice, provide for them. Yeah, it's very important to include this preposition, otherwise it doesn't make sense. Should pay to provide for them in the event that they need care in their old age. Finished. That is quite a high level answer to this question. Okay, the vocabulary, is it on topic?
Yeah.
Okay, so the vocabulary here is all relevant. Notice it's not all vocabulary about care homes and residential care, but this idea in the question, who should pay for it, it's all money, finance, paying, investing, that kind of vocabulary. So it is definitely on topic. Yeah. And the answer here is quite clear as well. So we've got a nice clear answer. It's well developed and it does meet all parts of the question. Okay. So this will also be going onto the website. I'm going to put it up on a page giving this question if you want to go back and look at this essay again as a source of vocabulary, or to think about the use of coherence markers, to think about the grammar, and to think about how it's answered the question. You will be able to find that on the YouTube video. I will also link the page with this model answer in the description. Okay. Any questions?